The perfect Stroopwafel is a delicate architectural feat, held together by a secret that turns a simple cookie into a warm, gooey, aromatic experience. It is the pride of the Netherlands, a treat that transformed from a humble scrap heap invention into a global symbol of Dutch hospitality. To understand the Stroopwafel, you have to travel back to the late 18th century in the city of Gouda. History often remembers Gouda for its famous cheese, but for the local bakers of the era, the city was a hub of ingenuity born out of necessity. In those days, poverty was a reality for many, and nothing was allowed to go to waste. Bakers were left with mountains of breadcrumbs and leftover dough scraps at the end of the day. Rather than tossing them away, they began grinding these remnants into a fine flour, mixing them with butter and spices, and pressing them into thin, crispy waffle discs. But the real magic happened when they decided to bridge those two discs with a rich, dark syrup. They called it a Stroopwafel, literally meaning syrup waffle. It was the ultimate poor man's cookie, an affordable, sweet indulgence that could be sold cheaply at outdoor markets to anyone passing by. What started as a way to clear the pantry shelves quickly became a local obsession. By the mid-19th century, there were over 100 syrup waffle bakers in Gouda alone, each guarding their own secret recipe for the perfect filling. The construction of an authentic Stroopwafel is a craft that demands precision. It begins with a dough rich in butter and sugar, pressed into a heavy-duty, grid-patterned iron. The heat must be intense and the timing exact to achieve that signature golden brown crunch. But the true test of a master baker is the slicing. While the waffle is still piping hot and pliable, it must be cut horizontally into two paper-thin layers. If the waffle cools even slightly, it becomes too brittle and will shatter under the knife. Once separated, a generous layer of warm, molasses-based syrup, infused with cinnamon and brown sugar, is spread across the interior. As the two halves are pressed back together, the syrup acts as a culinary glue, soaking slightly into the warm dough to create that iconic, chewy center. This brings us to the most beloved ritual in Dutch culture, the teacup steam. If you walk into any cafe in Amsterdam or a street stall in Gouda, you will see people placing their Stroopwafel directly over the rim of their hot coffee or tea. This isn't just a quirky habit, it is a functional necessity. The rising steam from the hot beverage gently penetrates the waffle, softening the crisp exterior and turning the hardened caramel filling into a molten, gooey delight. After about a minute, the cookie transforms from a firm snack into a fragrant, warm, and slightly messy masterpiece that melts in your mouth. Over the centuries, the Stroopwafel has evolved from a market stall secret into a cultural icon. It has traveled far beyond the borders of the Netherlands, yet it remains deeply rooted in the Dutch identity. You will find them everywhere, from high-end bakeries to the simple, fresh-pressed stalls that still operate in the bustling town squares. The smell of baking Stroopwafels, a heady mix of caramelized sugar and warm spices, is the olfactory signature of a Dutch winter. Today, the craft remains largely unchanged. While modern technology has allowed for mass production, the soul of the Stroopwafel is still found in the hands of the artisan who knows exactly when to slice the dough and how much syrup is needed to achieve that perfect balance of crunch and pull. It is a reminder that some of the world's greatest culinary treasures weren't born in royal kitchens or through elaborate experimentation, but from the simple, honest desire to make something beautiful out of what we already have. When you hold a warm Stroopwafel in your hand, you are holding a piece of history. You are participating in a tradition that spans generations, a quiet moment of indulgence that asks you to slow down, wait for the steam to do its work, and savor the sweetness of a craft perfected over 200 years. It is more than just a cookie,